Namaste, my friend. I highly appreciate that you are contemplating and reflecting on this. The more contemplation and reflection we do, we will get out of all kinds of suffering, mental, emotional, including the physical. Today, we will take up the same verse again and we will find out how the delusion causes the foolishness, and foolishness causes the suffering. This is our topic. But how I came with that topic, but before that, you remember the liberate model. L means living in the real self. I recall that I'm of the nature of the real self. Is there any issue? But yes, if the delusion has taken over the mind, then I cannot remember. I forget it. I'm getting carried away by anxiety, hesitation, reaction, blame, complaint, criticism. And then we go down. We go down. So I should remember liberate principle, how it comes by constant, consistent listening and learning. For a few weeks, you leave all the other podcasts. Otherwise, it will cause lot of confusion. So living in the true self, how? So you understand by listening and learning. I means investigation. When you investigate, means the self-inquiry. I'm I'm reacting. So you don't see the other person that appears to manifest a reaction in your mind. You have not to look at the person or event or condition. You have to look yourself. Oh, where is the reaction? Let me first check it. Get rid of it. Investigation. So investigation is all about self-inquiry. So when you investigate, you find, oh, the person is outside. He said me something, and I experienced that reaction in me. Why? Because of attachment and expectation. Okay. And if I drop it, the hesitation and reaction drops there and then. Do you react what the next door neighbors do? Let them do what they are doing. Finished. Uh, so once you investigate, your attachment and expectation drops, which causes the delusion. And for that, we have the letter B. You break free from the attachment. When you break free from the attachment, then comes the letter E, eliminate or eradicate. What? Delusion. Once you drop that attachment by understanding in your head, oh, I see the water in the mirage, reflected on it. There is a sand in the sunlight which causes this phenomena. Highway is running behind me. It is a delusion. You know it, so you don't worry. You are not concerned. You don't react while driving, even when you continue to look that the highway is running behind you. So the people will continue to have their own opinion, their response, their reaction, their anxiety, duality, and a conflict. But you're not affected. Eradicate. So LIBE, 4 letters. So once you reflect on these 4 letters, R means that you experience kind of freedom from the delusion. And freedom from the delusion induces the relaxation and calmness in you. And that relaxation and calmness is independent of any event, any person, any relationship. I'm just repeating the liberate principle so that you should remember. And then comes the A. Oh, you had a glimpse of that. Oh, that calmness and peace is coming from within. A. I become aware of my something within me, which is made up of the peace and happiness. Anxiety, reaction, duality, it is a curtain. Oh, and then what happens? You live in a higher awareness. Whenever even a little hesitation comes, you transcend those limitations. You say, "Good, I see the highway is running, but it's okay, it's a path. Okay, I see the water in the mirror is also delusion, but you are clear. Oh, it's a desert, so when you transcend these limitations, the letter T, you embody the real self. You embody the real self. You have to recognize that you are a seeker now. You have to repeat in your mind, no, no, I'm a seeker. How dare any suffering comes to me? You have been doing these practices, I believe, so regularly. Why regularly? Until what time? Until you awaken to that peace which is permanent in you. My friend, remember, the Eastern wisdom has 2 goals. One goal, end of all kinds of suffering. Where you get the suffering in your personal, professional, social, and family life, uh, with event in relationship, is it not? So what happens? You are slowly reducing those symptoms of anxiety, reaction, depression, anger, hesitation, expectations. So your personal, professional, social, and family life also improves. That is the one goal. And the second goal is you awaken to the peace and happiness. What is the difference between awakening to peace and happiness and eating pasta and getting an experience of pleasure? Buying a new car, I feel happy. That is not awakening. That pleasure comes when you come in contact with that person or an object or event. But here, awaken means what? You experience, oh, peace is within me, happiness is within me, the joy is within me. That is the life of awakening. You live 100 years or 150 years. The peace and happiness and the joy continues, starting from the day one, every hour, every minute. So, do you want to live 150 years with that peace, happiness, and the joy, or struggling, continue to suffer? Goal is to bring an end to the ignorance. Ignorance causes the delusion. Delusion causes the uh, foolishness. That is what the master is saying today. So we have done the first verse. So I have to pick up one part of the verse and explain to you. Did you understand? Yes, I understood. But what exactly is the foolishness? So the first verse says, recognize and realize the real self. In turn, you'll be filled with an unconditional love. The real self is of the nature of unconditional love. But the master says, caveat in the second line, O fool, he addresses all of us, all the seekers. so that, we get little bit aware and attentive. How dare you say that I'm a fool? So we will understand that clearly. So fool, but why we are fool? Master says this simply thing. Do you think that you will live forever? No, I cannot live forever. So how many years you have been living your life? 50, 60 years? Yes. How many times you had a moment of anxiety, getting upset, attachment, expectation every day? Just say only, let us take a very healthy figure, 5 times only per day, 150 times a month, 18,000 times a year. And if I lived 50 years until now, think of it, 9 million times. So the master is saying that why you are a fool when you are repeating in your life anxiety, duality, conflict, expectations, and attachment, and you suffer and you don't notice it. You don't want to get rid of it. That is why he is addressing the foolishness. But remember the 3 words, the foolishness. Before the foolishness, there is a delusion. And before the delusion, there is an ignorance. Ignorance means that I incomplete knowledge of myself. I don't know who am I. What I know I am is a false I. And that false I results into attachment, duality, conflict. Ultimately, it results into delusion, and the delusion leads to foolishness. Are you clear? But our topic is common moments of delusion. First, understand the common moments of delusion. The master says you have to hammer this delusion. If you don't hammer this delusion, the life will not enter into peace and happiness. I'm giving a totally a different perspective. I'm personalizing and customizing according to your personality, your attitude, your responses to the outer event. So normally when we talk of the delusion, uh, delusion feeling inserted by someone's word, someone says you are crazy, you get hurt, face becomes red. How dare you say I'm crazy, I'm intelligent. So our master says that I get hurt and I claim that I'm intelligent. So that very feeling of the heart proves that I'm crazy. And I become instantly aware. People also say me that you are crazy. I say I am more crazy than you think. You have to be with me. You have to live with me for a couple of days, and then you find out I'm extremely crazy than you think. So that word crazy does not affect my mind. Why? Because I'm aware. In that field of awareness, apply the liberate principle. I'm not attached to it. So I'm happy. So delusion is one, and anxiety about the future events, any form of anxiety, is also a form of regret or guilt about our past actions. We start comparing ourselves with others. These are the simple form of delusion, and that delusion causes the foolishness. Foolishness in the form of a thought, speech, and action. No, I want to understand more and in detail about the foolishness. So I picked up a verse from a great master who lived 2000 years ago. He defines that there are 5 types of delusion. You have never, 5 types of foolishness, you have never thought of it. Contemplate, reflect, and summarize, and then write to me whether this master is right or not. So he says that foolishness are of 5 types. First type is the vanity. Second type is the wicked conversation. Second is the third. Third is the hesitation, reaction, excitement, and anger. Fourth is the stubborn argument. And the fifth is lack of respect for others. Lack of respect for an event, lack of respect for others' opinion, lack of respect for others, what others are doing. 5 types of foolishness. From where it has come from? It has come from delusion. From where the delusion has come from? Ignorance. What is our primary goal? Primary goal is to find our real self of the nature of peace and happiness. But let us go a little deeper into this, what you call the foolishness, delusion, foolishness, and suffering. Before that, you can add ignorance, delusion, foolishness in my thought, speech, and action, and then I suffer. Medical science also gives 50 reasons of our anxiety and reaction. And the 51st reason, do you know what they say? Causes are still unknown. What you can do. Here, the master gives you a very deeper, clear understanding, a secret that if I recognize these symptoms in my thought, speech, and action, that will be an act of foolishness. The very recognition will dissolve it. And the very recognition will dissolve the foolishness. The delusion is gone, ignorance is gone, and I'm happy. My goodness. It is so. So you see that the delusion, what is delusion? I told you what appears true is not true. Water is not true in the mirage. Running highway is not true when you are driving the car. Moonlight is also a delusion because basically, fundamentally, it is the sunlight. So you understand it is a sunlight and still we use the word moonlight, but internally we are aware of it. That very awareness, that very cognition, that very knowledge is required to get rid of the attachment and the delusion to live to live in. You can complete it. Live in peace, happiness, and the joy. So delusion is basically a false perception. Someone says you crazy, and I claim that my mind says, oh, really, I'm crazy. But how do you know that? How dare you say that? And that prompts me to react. You see, it is a false perception. But if you are already reacting to it, you have proved that you are crazy. You have proved that you have a lot of expectations. What else you need? Liberate principle. Liberate principle. So false perception, mirage in the desert that I have been repeating again and again for the sake of. So now you see how delusion leads to impulsive, habitual, and reactive behavior. Because I claim what I see is true and real. Someone says me crazy, and I think that it is real. But my ego says, oh, how dare you say that? So that happens in a fraction of a millisecond, but now I forget that false I. Now I want to settle a score with that person who told me crazy. You have to say sorry. How dare you say that? So even if you have forced someone to say sorry, you have already proved what you are. Why? Why? We have to understand. Because my mind is impulsive, habitual, and react. It has shown the reactive behavior, impulsive behavior, habitual behavior. Impulsive, automatic processing of the thought based on my desires, based on my fears, based on my conditioned belief, depends on, someone deeply attached to your, no, if I'm deeply attached to my image, what will happen? Then I focus more on my appearance. Oh, I should have trimmed my beard before talking to you and giving you a lesson. So, very subtle. We'll talk about it. Impulsive nature. And then the reactive speech. Delusion causes us to react without awareness. That is what the reaction, anxiety, hesitation, and anger. And habitual action, it becomes automatic. It becomes my personality. Have you seen a puppet on the different strings, five, six strings, and that doer that who shows the puppet show always moves the fingers, and the puppet is dancing. A person under the influence of a delusion is like a puppet being controlled by invisible strings, and those strings are attachment, expectations, ego. They act without the true control over my choice. I can bet you, my friend, as such, you are full of peace and happiness, love, truth, and wisdom. You don't see it, I see it. So when you bridge this gap, the way I see it, you also see it. And that is why we are having this session. So, impulsive reaction to criticism, chasing social media validation, shopping addiction, there are a lot of things. You told me about your shopping addiction. So, foolishness as a result of an impulsive mind. Go to the verse. What Master says, recognize, realize the real self of the nature of unconditional love. But he is addressing all of us, oh foolish, oh fool, how long you have to continue the journey of anxiety reaction, blame, complaint, expectations, vanity, etc. We are trying to understand what exactly is this foolishness, what are the symptoms, so that I can instantly recognize these symptoms, I become aware and throw it out of my mind. That is our topic of discussion today. Foolishness. Foolishness, now you see, the foolishness is an outer expression of the delusion. Highway is running. I'm scared, I won't drive. You see, this is foolishness. Without understanding, the highway is not running, or I'm chasing the water in the mirage without understanding. I see the delusion is true for my mind, and then I express my thought, speech, and action is what the foolishness is. So, what are these characteristics of foolishness? Five types. Vanity. vanity, attitude of domination with the false identity. Clear? I will give you many examples of that. The fool is overly concerned with appearance, constantly trying to prove my worth through external things. Look at me, I'm so smart. Dressing, dressing common sense is okay, but spending 5 hours only on the dressing and standing before the mirror, what it shows the vanity. I want to prove my appearance. So when I want to prove my appearance, everyone should appreciate me. But no one appreciates me, then I return home with frustration, fear. Now tell me who is responsible. Just giving you a few examples, but we will go in deeper into it. The second is the harmful speech or wicked conversation. A fool speaks without thinking, often causing harm to others. How it starts? You meet your friend, you start the gossip, and then the mind picks up a person or an event in during that gossip, and it creates a chain reaction, and ultimately the gossip converts into a wicked conversation of that guy, this guy. We are trying to understand the 5 types of foolishness. I'm trying to make you understand through variety of ways. Hesitation, third type, hesitation, any form of reaction, excitement over the material things in the world and the people. What is this? I think, speak, and act impulsively, habitually, automatically. And the fourth one, the stubborn argument. My way is the only way. Now, I'm not saying my way, but another type of foolishness that my way is the only way. I don't agree. You stop. It prevents your growth. You are not ready to listen to the other's argument. And stubborn, disrespect for others by thought, speech, and action. It hurts you more than it hurt others when you disrespect. Foolishness, my master used to say, uh, it is a ship without a captain. I don't know what I'm going to say when I'm in the under the control of that foolishness. What I'm going to say, what I'm going to feel inside, what I'm to bring the negative impressions while returning to the home. I don't know. Ship without a captain. The impulsive mind is like a ship without a captain, tossed about by waves of emotions, desires, expectations, going in a random direction without any purpose. Foolishness. What is the end result? End result is suffering. What is suffering? It is mental, emotional. What are the mental and emotional suffering? Attachment, delusion, anger, hesitation, reaction, blame, complaint, and I can give you all the mental and emotional challenges that modern psychology has investigated. No, no, but you said delusion leads to foolishness and foolishness leads to suffering. So, in that act, thought, and speech of the foolishness, the attachment is hidden and I don't recognize it. Ego in the pain is hidden, I don't recognize it. How to recognize? Liberate principle. Resistance to the reality, resistance to what is right and good. Why? It is resistance to the reality is hidden behind. Oh, are you getting it? You have to write to me that you have really understood and you have digested, assimilated, and after listening, the next day you are totally free from that illusion or foolishness. So I told you ignorance, delusion, foolishness, suffering. And this suffering is like a dog chasing its own tail, constantly running in circles, never reaching satisfaction and exhausting itself into that process. That is what this master has written. When the appointed time of the death will come, will you continue to live with those symptoms? Look at it. He has written this almost, I would say, 900 years ago. Can you see the genius and understanding and the wisdom by which he is guiding us? He has not written any book for himself, in those days, and no master boast that I have written a book. They simply write, their main intention is that a seeker should accept this and learn from it. So, from delusion to foolishness to suffering, that is the cycle. Delusion, false view about any event, person, thing, etc., leading to impulsive thought, speech, and action. What is impulsive thought and action? When it is expressed, it is foolishness. So I have already expressed it. What it results? It results into suffering. I have to break the cycle. How I have to break the cycle? Liberate principles. I've been telling you. I believe you remember that. Liberate principle. Let us come a little bit of detail with the vanity, the first type of the foolishness. So you understand the background. Background of the foolishness is delusion. Background of delusion is ignorance, and foreground means that foolishness results into suffering. So the background of the suffering is foolishness. Background of the foolishness is delusion. Background of the delusion is ignorance. What is ignorance? Ignorance of my true nature. What is my true nature? It is of the nature of peace, happiness, love, truth, and wisdom. So we are talking about the five types of the foolishness. The first type of the foolishness is vanity or falsity or pride. It is an inflated sense of self importance. It stems from a delusion that my status, my appearance, my achievement defines the self. I define myself, how beautiful I am, how handsome I look like. Do you see that? I am, after all, you should respect me. Imagine a balloon filled with the air, constantly expanding but fragile. Vanity is like this balloon. One prick, gone. I make my mind to think that you do not appreciate me. It is a prick. What a beautiful way to understand this, how the master explains this. In modern life, people may flaunt their our wealth on, on social media to receive validation, thinking it elevates their worth. But when that external validation disappears, they feel deflated and empty. Then I've experienced the hollowness. Social media, I earned $10 million. How long it take? 30 seconds. How much pleasure you get in that 30 seconds? No, I boasted. Now you have to engage yourself in daily work. So when you start engaging your daily work, the same impulsive mind returns. It- so now that pleasure is already deflated. I'm just giving many examples of this. The second is the wicked conversation. Wicked conversation. Uh, you can roughly translate as a harmful speech. Engaging in gossip, followed by the conversation that harms others through lies, gossip, or hurtful language. What will I do when others are doing it? Enjoy. Don't allow your mind to be influenced by it. How? By liberate principle. But I should not do it. I should refrain from it. The words are like seeds. Plant good seeds, and you grow a beautiful garden. Plant harmful ones, and you grow weeds that take over and destroy. It happens at work, in our personal life, in our relationship. I should refrain from it. But you control the other person, say they don't say harmful speech. If you say it, they will get annoyed. So what should I normally what I do when I see that now the gossip has started into any kind of harmful speech and conversation. If I'm a guest, I say I am feeling, desire to have a cup of coffee. Can we have it so that we can continue the conversation? But if I'm at my home, I said, do you want to have a cup of tea or water? Okay. No, no, I'm not interested, but I want a cup of tea before I return, and you can continue the conversation. So while I'm preparing a cup of tea or a coffee, I ask a question about him or her, and I wait that the conversation has taken another turn. How you can do it? By liberate principle. You have to find out how. So then we come to the third one, the hesitation, excitement, or anger, or reaction, or anxiety, all comes under the third type of it, third category, third type of the foolishness. After the foolishness, suffering. Before the foolishness, delusion. Before the delusion, ignorance. What is ignorance? I don't know my nature. What to do? Follow the liberate principle. So this hesitation, what is this? Arises when desires or expectations are not met. Keep this definition in your mind the moment you have reaction, excitement, anger, hesitation. Oh, let me find out, mind, which of your desires and expectations are not met. In the moment you become aware of that in your head, your delusion is gone, attachment is gone, and you are free from it. How long it will take depends on you. Normally, it takes a fraction of a millisecond to get rid of it. This hesitation, this excitement, this reaction is like a fire. If you control it, it can be useful like cooking. But if it is not, if it is uncontrolled, forest fire. What is forest fire? Uh, Not only I get upset, but I make everyone upset. Are you getting it? I'm making a very simple way to understand. I see many people, especially on a red light, they are stuck in a traffic in the red light, and sometime, not all the time, but sometime I see the guy is pressing the steering as if he's going to drop the steering into the engine. Unnecessary. Shouting or honking aggressively, believing the world is not listening, world is against, world is not doing the thing rightly. And what it results? It blinds us to the present moment. It pulls us deeper into our delusion, increasing our suffering. Third one. Fourth one, stubborn argument. Stubborn argument. Stubborn argument means what is rigid opinion, refusing to change or listen to new perspectives. This rigidity comes from ego, believing one's views are the ultimate truth. My way is the only way. Yeah. You see that many people, they don't say it, but they mean it. And someday when we grow old, then we stick to that rigid opinion. My way is the only way. Why my way is the only way? Have you not seen the tech advancement during the last 20, 30, 40 years? And in these 40 years, our kids have grown. They were exposed to that tech, advanced technology, and their brain has progressed much faster as compared to when we were of their age. Let me respect it. We get stubborn. This guy is 34 years old. During COVID, he started the journey in COVID. He's progressing very fast. So he told me that, I'm totally scared to go out. First statement. Second statement that I'm not ready to take COVID. It is all farce, COVID vaccine. So I said, if you are scared to go out, don't go out. But I cannot do my business while going out. So then I said, take the COVID vaccine. But I'm not ready to take it because it is totally false. Stubborn, rigid views. So I told him that I looked into the entire scientific journals. There are more than 2 to 3 thousand people were engaged in the research around the world, and they came up this vaccine and it prevents. I'm not saying it cures, but it prevents. So he asked me, have you taken? I said, yes. The next day he took the vaccine. That stubbornness has gone. Many ways of stubbornness. The fifth one is the lack of respect for others. Disregarding or devaluing others' viewpoint stems from the delusion that only once my perspective matters here in this case. Just as a just as a cup can only hold water when it is empty. What did I say? I said, just as a cup can only hold water when it is empty, so can wisdom only flow in when the mind is open. The wisdom can flow. Well, let me understand it. Do not disrespect. Because that also causes, first it causes the hesitation in me. Oh, you're not listening to me, you're my son, what should I say? Now, I have already created a problem. In social circles, we might dismiss a friend's perspective on health or a career advice simply because it doesn't match my own experiences. I should not say that. Gave you many examples of this delusion and foolishness. Now understand the symptoms of vanity. Many symptoms of vanity. I've already defined vanity. So understand that what happens in vanity. Constantly posting curated versions of life on social media for likes and validation, believing that online approval equals real happiness. Luxury brand addiction. You got it? Yes. Workplace competition. You got it? Buying addiction. Did you get it? Vanity. What to do? Apply the liberate principle. Find out how it helps. Then you will start focusing on the inner qualities of kindness, of wisdom, of selflessness that reflects your true nature. What you should not do, don't compare yourself with others. One, don't seek validation through possession, status, and appearance. Seek validation through the knowledge about your real self. Did you get it? Second is the harmful speech or wicked conversation, speaking without thinking. Have you heard the proverb? Before I speak, I should think. Think before speech. Don't speak without thinking. So if I speak without thinking, it is impulsive nature, it's habitual. How you can do it? Liberate principle. You're finding, yes, it contains many, many principles which you have gone through. It will help you remind yourself. Harmful speech comes from a lack of mindfulness and awareness. When we speak impulsively, we allow our emotions like hesitation or jealousy to dictate our words, damaging our relationship and creating unnecessary suffering. You want to know the symptoms. Gossiping about our colleagues or some strange, or gossiping about the two leaders of the party. Nowadays, election time is there. So never enter into any firm. Oh, both are good. Both are citizens of the United States. They both are standing for election. I appreciate both of them that they dare to stand for the election. That's all. Inserting remarks in arguments. Sometime when you are arguing, wicked conversation, we start, our mind reaches to a point of highest level of impulsiveness, then we start insulting others by speech. Never do it. Never even think of it. Dismissive speech with a family that normally happens in a family, in a relationship. What to do? Practice. I told you liberate principle. You have to do the Shanti mantra. You do the regular practice so that you can raise your self-awareness, and that self-awareness will help you to prevent the wicked conversation. You will remind, oh, beer guy told me not to do this, let me change it. Anger, hesitation, overreaction to material things, people, and our relations. That is the third one. Fools react impulsively with anger or hesitation when the things do not go their way, especially when it comes to material possessions or desires, or so called that I'm seeking respect from others. Their emotions are heavily influenced by external circumstances, and that causes the anxiety, anger, hesitation, reaction, excitement. Why it comes? Because I'm attached to the things, people, outcomes. Before I go and meet my friend and have a cup of coffee, my mind says that when I come, I have taken 1 hour to dress myself. My appearance is so good, and now I expect my friend should appreciate me. And your friend is already busy in something else, and he or she doesn't find a time to look at you and appreciate you. Hmm. So hesitation in the traffic, excitement and frustration over a new gadget. Sometimes we get totally frustrated with a new gadget. Calm down. What to do? Cultivate detachment and equanimity by liberate principle. You have to remember investigation, you recognize the attachment, and then you apply the B, break the attachment. Then E, delusion is gone, relaxation has come. Do you remember that I'm explaining one part of the first verse. There are only 31 verses. Once you complete those 31 verses, and even if you apply and reflect on 5% of these verses, all your blame, complaint, reaction, anxiety will. Stubborn argument is the fourth one. My way is the only way. A fool, my master used to say, fool insists that their way is the only way, refusing to consider others' viewpoint. They become stubborn and defensive in arguments, even when it is clear that another perspective might be better. My mind is totally overwhelmed with the delusion, it doesn't accept that. Stubbornness arises from an inflated sense of ego. They may be a little bit of related. First was vanity or ego. The fool clings to their opinion because they are attached to being right. Oh, my son never respects me. And this becomes an obsession. And that is why I'm not going. That is why I don't want to talk. That is why I kept a distance. You have to understand. So, sometimes workplace disputes, sometimes family decisions, we make a social or political debate, disrespect. And the fifth one is the disrespect for others, thought, speech, and action. Stubborn argument and disrespect for others. Disrespect arises when a fool dismisses others' viewpoint, feelings, or needs. The best way to live in the society is to, the moment you meet anyone in this world, stranger or relations, or dear and the near ones, you start addressing their feeling and emotions with the kindness, then you are always free. Your mind will not even think of attachment and detachment. This respect also comes from a sense of being feeling superior or I'm entitled. The fool believes that they are more important, that I am more important and knowledgeable than others, leading to a lack of empathy. So, how we behave in the world, I always try to interrupt others in conversation. I ignore someone's ideas. I do not. I continue to show my reactive behavior. So when I continue to instantly, some thought is come, it is causing something, I categorize into the five types of uh, foolishness. And I remember this foolishness is because of delusion and ignorance, and it is going to lead me to the suffering. So let me give a break, recognize, categorize, apply the liberate principle. You are free there and then, even when you are walking your dog in the morning or evening, even when you are driving a car, even when you are in a workplace or in your office, you're doing your work. I can bet you. I know it takes time for contemplation, and the life is going to change completely. Remember what the first verse says, recognize and realize the real self of the nature of unconditional love. But second line, the master says, "O fool, appointed time of the death is approaching. How long you will continue to live every day, every hour in anxiety, duality, conflict, challenges? How long, why you are living into, why you are not able to succeed in getting rid of reaction and attachment, foolishness? Why delusion? Why ignorance? Why I don't know my real nature? So if I go back and retrieve, I remember, oh, it is because I have to break this delusion. So what you are doing before the foolishness converts into suffering, experience of pain and suffering, you dissolve it by understanding these five types of foolishness. What happens now? The life will change. This is only the first verse. So we have to continue with the first verse, remembering that, and then we will go into the second verse in our next lesson. Thank you. Namaste.